So today I went on a toy hunt. I'm looking for the Target exclusive Rise of Evil 2-pack, which includes the Skeletor before he burned his face off. The character's name is Keldor, and the second figure in that 2-pack is a character named Kronis, which is Trapjaw before he became disfigured and had, like his face was mutilated and he lost his arm. If for people who don't know, and I didn't know this until recently, this was kind of the characters who, as they were given a backstory in the 2000X series, and kind of in the first couple of episodes, you see Keldor attacking Prince Randor. He was Captain Randor before he was made King Randor, and he threw acid at Captain Randor, and Captain Randor blocked it with his shield, and the splashback is what burnt Keldor's face off, and he became Skeletor. I haven't seen the episode about what happens to Kronis. I think I may have seen a comic book, but it was basically he tried to rebel against Skeletor, and Skeletor used his Havoc Staff at point blank and blew off Kronis's arm and face, and he became Trapjaw. So really neat figures. These are obviously figures that weren't part of the original line because those were not the established backstories at the time in the 1980s when those figures came out. But they're done in the Origins style. Keldor comes with an alternate head, which is basically Skeletor, a recently acid burned Skeletor, and it looks really neat. Have to be honest with you, it looks really cool. Keldor is mustachioed, kind of Fu Manchu, blue alien looking dude. Obviously, Skeletor has blue skin, and he has like long hair and stuff. He looks like a prototypical villain type, and I'm really interested in getting these action figures. I have been stalking the Target website, hoping to see it come available to order online, and it hasn't been available online. And I did notice it was in stock in a couple of stores beginning, I think, last weekend, and I wasn't able to get out to the stores. But on Monday, after work, I went and looked in. I went to 2 different Targets, and I couldn't find them. I just kind of popped in because it was only showing at a couple of Targets, so I figured it would later be more widely released. And over the course of the week, I've been seeing more and more Targets get inventory. I saw my local Target, the one that I usually go to, had it in stock on Wednesday. It was, let's see. So I looked at 8 a.m. And it wasn't in stock at that Target. And then at 11 a.m. I noticed that it changed. It went to in stock. And so I went over to that Target and I asked, I looked around, couldn't find it. It wasn't on the shelf. I asked a Target team member who was very rude to me. Didn't even look it up. I tried to show it to him. He was like, "Oh, Masters of the Universe, we don't have it." And he just tried to shut down the conversation there. And then I went to a second Target that same day. I couldn't find it. Went to I think 3 Targets on Friday because I saw a lot of in stock alerts on Friday. Asked a couple of people. Most of the Target team members were nice. One guy kind of laughed in my face, which was a little bit off-putting. It was like a little bit of a nervous laugh, but it was kind of like, have a little bit of professionalism. You know, I'm trying to buy something from your store. I'm not, you know, and I wasn't being rude. I was being as just as polite as possible. Hey, can you help me out? I'm looking for something. Can I give you the DCPI number or DPCI number, whatever their inventory code is called. And I've come to the conclusion that if you're talking to someone who is not in the toy section, that they're very willing to help, because to you they are just another customer who is looking for an item, and they have no problem helping you and looking it up for you. If you're talking to the toy aisle guy, he is usually very rude, probably because he's had to answer that question 100 times that day. And advocating on behalf of Target employees, I really think they need to stop with these stupid exclusives. They make zero sense. Okay, if you're going, you know, if you're Mattel and you want to, you know, throw your retail partners a bone, then okay, Target's going to get them early. All right. You know, you want it, you want to go get it, you want to find it at Target, fine. Target's going to have it a month before the online retailers, okay? I mean, I don't see how that's any different than just making an exclusive, but putting this pressure on, like, well, if you go to Target and they don't have it, you'll never be able to get it because, you know, Entertainment Earth can't sell it, Big Bad Toy Store can't sell it. And so I just think the idea of these retail exclusives is just ridiculous in general. I mean, Target isn't the only store that sells this line of products, so why wouldn't it be at other retailers? And you know, if you don't know, the last time I looked on eBay, this 2-pack, which retails at $30, was trending at $120 on eBay. So obviously, like, way too expensive. I'd pay $40, $50, you know, $50 plus shipping. So out of pocket $60 for this 2-pack. I mean, I think that would be, you know, I mean, I don't want to say reasonable, but okay, like, it's hard to find, it's rare, you know, I'll pay double basically for it, but I can't justify paying 4 times the price. That said, I hope that we are able to see these. I hope we're able to see these maybe in a different form. Like, okay, so the 2-pack was a Target exclusive. 6 months from now, they're going to release these on a card. That's what I anticipate will happen, is we'll get carded versions of these figures. Maybe they'll be a little different. I hope Keldor still comes with the alternate head, because the alternate head's really cool. But I that's kind of what I'm expecting at this point. I don't have anything to justify what I am expecting, but Entertainment Earth has been listing alternate versions of characters that have already been released. I just saw a picture of whatever the next wave of action figures is. It's Faker, Fisto, and a new version of Merman. I think it's Merman. Which from the pictures that I saw, I couldn't tell what was different about this Merman. I'm hoping he comes with a trident, because I think that would be cool. And I hope he has the like the more animated series head, or the prototype head, the Lords of Power version of Merman, and an animated series version of Evil Lyn. So the toy Evil Lyn had yellow skin. the animated version had normal flesh-colored skin. So those have already been announced, and obviously the Lords of Power was a convention exclusive from last year. Now the people who bought it, they got 5 different figures in their sort of prototype version, and it looks like they have announced a Lords of Power Merman and a Lords of Power Beastman. And Beastman, I can really tell that there's a difference. The head's different, the armor's different. He looks really great. So we might end up getting a Lords of Power Skeletor. Skeletor looks a little funny. Kind of looks like an ape skull more than a human skull. But I still think he's cool. That being said, this Keldor Kronis 2-pack, I really want these characters, and I'm really hoping that we get the opportunity to get them. So I'm going to tell you what I learned today. I got to one of the targets near me. It was before it was opened. Stood at the door waiting for them to open the doors. I was only a couple of minutes early. It wasn't like I got there 30 minutes early. I wanted to get there as early as possible, but I had to do some things around the house before I left, and ended up getting there about 7 to 10 minutes early. So I queued up. Guy got in line behind me, and so I turned to him, and he's like a 40-year-old guy, so I'm like, oh well, this guy's obviously here for the action figures too. So I asked him. I said, "Oh, are you here for the Masters of the Universe?" And he's like, "Oh, what?" And I'm like, "Oh, the Masters of the Universe action figures. Are you getting this?" And he was like, apparently he was there to get like medication for his wife. So, but we had a cool chat, and then there was like 2 guys behind him, and then that I didn't really get to talk to. They opened the doors, and that guy went his way, and me and the other 2 guys were heading towards the toy section. So I turned to the guy that was kind of keeping pace with me, and I said, "Oh, hey, are you gonna get the Masters of the Universe action figures?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I was looking for them yesterday. I went to a store. They told me to come back in an hour. I came back in an hour, and then they said, 'Oh, sorry, we're sold out.'" So so he was really on edge. And then the other guy, he was funny. He was just kind of like listening to us, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I collect Masters of the Universe, and I've been able to find a few characters." But the funny thing is that he was there looking for G.I. Joe classified action figures, which I don't know if they were showing in stock at that store. They might have been. So anyway, we talked to one of the associates. She looked it up. She was like, "You know what? I'm going to be right back. I'm going to ask somebody because I'm not sure if we have this." And so she went, and the guy came out. And I don't know if he was the toy guy or the manager. I think he was the lead for inventory. Comes out. He says that the person who's in charge of the toy section isn't going to be here till noon, and so I want you to come back at noon. So I left. The other guy, the G.I. Joe guy, left, and he the other guy kind of stayed there and was like arguing with the target manager. I mean, they're not like aggressively arguing, but he was just asking a lot of follow-up questions. Where I was like, they're clearly not going to give it to us. I'm just going to go. So, got into the parking lot, looked at the app, went to the next closest Target. Same thing there. Talked to someone who was really nice, and they directed me to guest services. And this is where I got probably the most interesting information, or at least now I got that person's perspective and philosophy on how to read the inventories. And what he told me, so he showed me their system. He showed me that they had 2 in stock and they were sold. And they had 3 other numbers. He had 0 on the shelf, 0 in the back, and 4 on hand. And so he was saying, if there's 0 on the shelf and there's 0 on the back, then I know we don't have it. And I said, what about the 4 on hand? And he told me that number's unreliable. I don't know what it means. It might mean that it's somewhere in the store, but we wouldn't be able to find it. And so he told me that he never looks at that number. So I don't know if there's any other story behind that number. I mean, obviously, depending on the store, depending on the people, it could mean a lot of different things. It could mean that someone got a hold of 4 action figures and is hiding them somewhere in the store. And I thought about looking around. I did look in some of the more obvious places, like the price scanners, looking behind the the figures. So the third Target I went to, I talked to the guy, and he said that they had one in stock and they sold it, and that he was expecting another one. According to the notes in his inventory system, they might be getting another one on the 26th or 27th, and those are special deliveries that come straight from Mattel. I said, one? And he was like, oh yeah. And so after I left, I thought about it. I think he meant one case. And he probably meant that they sold that one case to one person, which is something that I know happens. You ask someone and they're like, oh yeah, well, we haven't put them out yet. Do you want all of them? And they'll just sell it to you. Which I think, obviously it's that person, that Target team member trying to be nice, but unfortunately that disadvantages everybody else who's looking for that product. And really only serves the scalpers. So I can't imagine that Mattel is just driving around in a hatchback with like five of these action figures and then dropping them off one by one at area Targets, because that's what it sounds like they're doing, and I don't understand how they would be making money doing that. So again, just my thoughts, my experiences. They need to really stop these exclusives, and if they're gonna do an exclusive, then I think we should have a reasonable expectation that these companies are going to repackage them and sell them at other retail outlets somewhere in the near future, because it's really frustrating, and I think it degrades their brand when people who, their customers, their fans, are trying to find these things and they can't. It's not like they're advertising something to get people excited. They're basically just creating a system that's frustrating and creates like a bad relationship between their product and their fans. So I don't understand why they're doing it. I really think that they need to stop. Update, I got it. I got a honey oat milk latte. Oh, the action figure? No, those don't really exist because they can't be found.